Hound. Welcome to episode 13 of Things That Go Bad in the Night. 13, just around the Halloween weekend. Couldn't be any more perfect, could it, Chris?
Well, that's very creepy, isn't it? We
It
didn't
is.
plan it at
We
all.
did not plan this at all. Yeah, it's just kind of
It's
it's
just
worked out
fallen that
like
way.
that. Yeah, it really has. I mean, it shouldn't be episode 13 because obviously, if we had hit some of the other weeks where I was away on the location recce and stuff like that, this would probably be episode 14 or 15 now. But you know what? We'll take it. I think it's a bit of a win. Episode 13 for Halloween weekend. Yeah, so I hope everyone's having a great Halloween weekend. We're recording this just before, so you got anything planned for this weekend, Chris?
Oh man, yeah. Don't we? Halloween's my birthday, so we always do it big
Oh, yes.
in our household. Obviously, we can't this year so much, but
Yeah.
we'll be doing indoor trick or treating. So we're all
Love
going
it.
to take turns behind doors in the house.
Oh, that's so cool.
Probably horror films.
Yep.
We've started carving the pumpkins today, so it's
Oh,
going well. I think the kids have got a little tea party planned for me tomorrow as well, so that'll be really nice.
I love that. Because kids can't go trick-or-treating at random people's houses this year. Have you heard about the pumpkin in the window?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
That's really good. I really, really
it's a
like
good
that
idea,
because
isn't
they've
it?
done it during the whole lockdown. They've done the teddy bear thing, didn't they? Where you put the
Yes,
teddy bear in
yeah.
the window and kids could go around and pick it up. So I love that idea of
It's a good idea. It
Yeah.
seems like a natural extension as well because
really
I think
does.
everyone feels this way. What most people should, but we've always took the position that if a house doesn't have a pumpkin or anything like that in the window or in the porch, then we don't knock on it for trick or treating.
Yeah.
We just assume if there's no decorations, then they don't want to be disturbed.
Yeah.
And I think where I was growing up, I think it was just a free for all for any house was fair game. I just think it's better now. It's just because not everyone likes Halloween.
No, it's very true.
Especially I think elderly people on their own don't want random people knocking on their door late at night. I just think it's much better. And yeah, and funnily enough, one of my friends, Sarah D, who we mentioned on an early episode of this podcast, it was actually her who mentioned it to me about the pumpkin in the window. So it's really bizarre.
Oh, cool.
You would mention that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, shout out to Sarah because I believe her film dropped. Was it this week or last week? Actually.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it was this week. Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't checked it out yet, but we definitely will.
Yeah.
We'll definitely check it out and review it on a later episode. Yeah, looking forward to that, man. So, talking about reviews, trying to cut a nice little segue here. I believe you have now finished The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, go on, sir. What do you think?
I mean, I loved it. Wow. There's a particular episode that almost had me in tears.
Right.
It really, it's. I think it's the third one from the end. The one where Peter and Rebecca are talking to the children and trying to convince them
Yes.
of what they want to do. I don't know, that really hit me. I found it so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It really, really choked me up. I kind of felt like ultimately it became more of a kind of sad love story rather than a ghost story in the end, or rather than a horror ghost story anyway.
So on that note, this is what I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
So I've never read the book.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, this is very, very faithful to the novel.
To a point, yeah.
Is the ending, you might, if you haven't finished The Haunting of Bly Manor, skip forward a couple of minutes because I am.
We're going to have to do this one. We're going to have to do this one with spoilers.
We are. We're going to have to because I need to know the answer. So we're entering spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So the ending with Danny.
Hand on the shoulder?
No, the whole episode. That whole episode of
yep.
Danny and Jamie, the gardener.
Yeah.
Is that the ending of the book?
No.
Is that the lady in the lake? That kind of stuff? Is that?
No, because that's so.
See,
where I say to a point, so it's kind of like the first half of the film is the first half of the series is the book. The whole lady in the lake thing is based on, I can't remember what it's called, but a short story of Henry James. Completely different story.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you paid attention to the titles, but there's another short story called The Beast in the Jungle, which was one of the. It's possible it's the same one, but was another of his short stories.
Right,
so they might have borrowed from a few different places.
Okay, that's interesting.
The setup of so Peter, Quint, Rebecca, Miles, Flora,
Yeah.
Danny, they might have changed that name, and Mrs. Gross and the uncle. That's all true. So
Right.
that all
That's all
follows.
in the book. Right.
Wealthy uncle doesn't want anything to do with
Yeah.
them. The parents have died. Son sent the kid sent home from boarding school. All of that is factual.
And
What's
with the kid being possessed, right?
Yes, sort of.
Yes.
So both of them are being influenced by
Right.
the two ghosts,
Yes.
particularly Miles and Peter.
Yes.
Now, do you remember? I mean, the other thing is it is a story within a story. So someone is telling the story on Christmas Eve or some such. So it is someone telling the story, and I can't remember if they have a relation to this to being in the story. I can't remember, but the book ends. The novella ends with. Do you remember the episode where it was fairly early on? It was probably before halfway, where Danny's running around thinking she sees Peter Quint, and
Yes.
she sees him in the window, and then Miles sees him in the window.
Yes.
That's how the book ends. It
Oh,
ends with
interesting.
Miles seeing him in the window and Danny saying to him, "Do you see that?" And he dies in her arms.
Interesting.
So it's
Interesting.
kind of like it was very close to it to a point, and then they added on all sorts of other things as well.
So with that said, I said last week, I believe, that I felt it was almost like you got two bonus episodes that I don't know. This might be quite controversial because I've seen a lot of people absolutely love that ending. Don't get me wrong.
Mm.
The ending is great with Jamie and Danny where they go away and it's all about the lady in the lake possessing her.
Yeah,
That's great. It's great. It's heartbreaking. It's beautiful. It's a great story in itself.
yeah,
However, and this is where maybe the controversy from me comes from, I do feel like it was a little bit out of place and it kind of I would have been okay with a series ending 2 episodes previous. Because, like I said, for me, the main characters were the kids.
yeah.
And
So
then they just kind of get forgotten
two
about.
episodes previous would have been where the lady in the lake strangles Danny, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
I also didn't really need to know who she was.
yeah. No, I agree.
Like,
I
again, cool
agree.
episode where they explain who she
As
was.
interesting as it was,
But I didn't really need to know who she was. I
I
quite
just
liked the
accepted
idea.
she was, the the malevolent force in the house.
Yeah, she's like the guardian of the grounds,
Mm.
right? Like, I quite like that. And I feel like, yeah, for me, I don't know. I just, it either lost something or I feel like maybe we almost started a different series.
Yeah,
The lady in the lake was never the main ghost for me, never the main character, never the main like
yeah,
Danny wasn't even the main character. The main characters was Miles and Flora.
yes,
And I
yeah,
feel like once that story arc was told, we're done. Like that great ending. But then we kind of carry on and then the kids have got nothing to do with it. And yeah, and it just felt a little bit strange to me. I don't how did you feel about it?
yeah. I I kind of lost my enthusiasm for it in the latter half of the series.
Yeah,
That's not,
because
and that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I did. It's just I didn't love it as much as I did at the beginning. At the beginning, I thought, "Wow, the atmospherics! I love it. It's a real slow, traditional kind of English. I mean, I know it's an American English production, but in terms of an English
yes,
ghost
yeah,
story, it had that feel.
of course.
Um, However, I really liked how they explained the mythology of the ghosts, like the rules they gave them. I liked that, and I liked how it kind of developed over time. I liked that, the rules around possession. I really liked when they started the dream hopping with Hannah Gross. Um,
That was a great episode.
yeah, it took
Great
me a while
episode.
to get my head around what was happening. Once I did, I loved that episode and I loved it. However, from that point onwards, every bugger was doing it. Every single
Yeah,
person was dream
yeah,
hopping, and it just got too much for me. I got really confused by the whole thing. I didn't know what was going on. I just felt like it was way, way, way overdone from
yeah,
that point onwards,
yeah,
and I think that tainted it a bit for me.
yeah. I would say that's fair. I would say that's fair. Again, it was just that ending for me of yeah, it was great. I just never felt that was the main story. I feel like you could have wrapped it up when they were all said and done at the manor.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't really need to see. Well, no, I did. I liked seeing Danny and Jamie off in America. I just didn't need it for this series.
Yeah,
I
no, I get
actually that would be a really nice spin-off series for me. Like if you were going to do like a
they could have
limited,
done, couldn't they?
yeah, a limited series. It just didn't feel like it fit within this story for me. That's my only, and it is a very minor critique because
Mm-hmm.
it's still outstanding. You know what they do in them 2 episodes, and you know you are definitely choked up at the end with Danny at the bottom of the lake. But yeah, man, like
Yeah, and I don't know. I suppose with that ending as well, I suppose I found it a little bit odd that she would leave the door open for her,
yeah,
knowing the kind of you know, she would have spoken to all of the others involved, and she would have an inkling that the ghosts couldn't leave that place, and that certainly that Danny had gone back there. So I found it a strange decision that she would leave the door open, ajar slightly, and face the door. Like if Danny wanted to go, she would even need to use the door. It just seemed a strange choice to me. I mean, again,
yeah.
it was
Let's be fair.
powerful in terms of showing that she's now spending her life waiting for her every
Yeah,
evening. Fine, but it just struck me as a strange thing to do.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, it just felt like a bit of a different series to me,
Mm.
a bit of a different story, or at the most a sequel to this, a
Yeah,
spin-off series
yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know, man. But overall,
Oh, I really
absolutely,
enjoyed it. Really, really
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Overall, pretty bloody good, man. Like absolutely, Mike Flanagan just cannot do any wrong. Like that, the guy is just he kills it with everything I see. I love everything he does.
He's
I
doing
say
well.
like Haunting a Hill House. I still think is maybe the benchmark with Doctor Sleep. I really really like Doctor Sleep, but
Mm.
yeah, the guy is he's an absolute super talent. And the funny thing is, he's still not really a household name, is he? He's not.
No, not at all.
He's not a director that's on the tip of everyone's tongue. I think he's probably. I think you'd be hard pushed to say that he's not maybe the top horror director in Hollywood at the minute.
Yeah,
I think it kind of has to be, you know.
yeah.
All right, well, talking about horror directors and horror films and looking towards maybe the future horror directors, let's talk Frightfest. So last week, I believe it was. These weeks are all blurring into one.
I mean, well, I think it
Yeah,
was last week. Yeah.
yeah, I believe it was. I believe it was last week. We had the October edition of Frightfest, but obviously extended out beyond the usual one-day Halloween event to 5 full days, 5 stacked days of yeah, some really, really good stuff. Now, I know you didn't get to watch as much as you wanted to for this. I missed a little bit as well, but I did get in a little bit more than you. But yeah, let's start off, dude, with what did you watch and what stood out for you?
Sacrifice,
Yes.
which was set in, I can't remember now,
So
a
it's
Scandinavian
yeah,
country.
it's Norway or somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I loved the atmosphere of it. I thought it really did gave it a Scandinavian feel, really, really well. But I was a bit disappointed with the ending. I
Okay.
felt a little bit cheated that we didn't see anything or get any kind of resolution as to what was going on. So I'll give you an example. So if, we're led to believe there's something in the lake,
Yeah.
but apart from the sword coming out at the end, all we ever see of that entity or hear of it is in the main actress's dreams.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we can't be sure that it's there or not. The other thing is the kind of descent that the main actor had into his change of behavior, how he changed throughout the film. That was never really explained either. What was influencing him? Why did that happen? I just felt like it didn't really tie everything up as well as it could.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a very fair criticism. I I did enjoy it. I tell you the weird thing though. I come out of it having enjoyed it, but not in love with it. However,
Mm, mm.
I've kept thinking about it ever since. And it's weird the points you bring up because I kept thinking about the points you brought up. And actually quite like that some stuff is left unexplained. Actually, what I would have liked to have seen is at the end when the sword is kicked back out
Mm.
of the lake. I kind of would have liked that not to have happened that you get no idea if Saint's in this lake, and play up the paranoia of these people. Like, is it all just these people are insane, and through the collective paranoia of the town, they all believe in, they're worshipping this
Do you know,
deity.
if you took that out, right? I never thought about this, so this is right away. Now you've said it. If you took that sword being shot back out again out of the film, I think that could have solved a lot of the gripes I have with it.
Yeah, because that gives you another question, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Where I feel like if you leave it out, you could play it almost as, okay, maybe there's
yeah.
nothing in the
It
lake.
didn't.
Maybe it's
It
the
didn't.
paranoia.
It didn't feel right to
Yeah,
me. It was
like
quite
I
jarring.
like the idea of like the cult just being. I really, really like the idea of cults that. I mean, no secret. I'm saying this, and I've done it myself in one of my very early short films, Order of the Ram, where you've got a cult that worship a deity, but the film ends with nothing happening, and that's rubbed some people up the wrong way, where they think they don't get an ending. But for me, the idea is that I'm very, very fascinated by religion. I like to look at how people worship it and how people are affected by it, and I think there is something, like, if you believe in it or not, I think it's undeniable that there is no concrete proof, right?
Mm.
So it is all completely a leap of faith. So even if you go to your darkest times, as in the end of Order of the Round, which I done, or the end of Sacrifice, where they both make a sacrifice, nothing like the way I like to look at it. And again, this is all very subjective and all personal, but I like the idea of nothing happens, because nothing does happen, right? Like in real life,
Yeah,
we have had, unfortunately, sacrifices, and back in the day, and there are cults around the world, and within some countries around the world where stuff like that still happens, but nothing happens.
do
Like,
you
the
know?
sacrifice happens and nothing happens.
I thought you was going to say it's no secret that I'm in a cult. That's what I
Oh yeah.
thought. Hang on, I didn't know that. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Some people just don't like having those threads untied at the end. Some people enjoy it. I quite enjoy it when you don't find out everything. However, I just felt it didn't work in this instance. For in Order of the Ram, I didn't feel cheated that you didn't see anything at the
Yeah.
end. I didn't even feel cheated about the ending of Sacrifice. I have some different gripes with that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not Sacrifice, sorry, Blood Harvest.
Yes.
But with Sacrifice, and I've had a kind of revelation, because I do feel like it's that sword that
Yeah.
if you take out that something shot the sword out of the lake at the end, if you take that out and they just left it as the ending as it was, for me, then that still leaves the door open to all the other things.
Well,
Um,
I think the idea of paranoia answers all your questions as well, right? Because
yes, yeah,
at the end, you want to, like, for me, I like the idea of the question: is what they're worshipping real, or is it just collective paranoia in a small town? For example, the Salem witch trials, right?
mm, mm,
Look at the Salem witch trials. That wasn't real. Witches are not real, but it was literally the collective paranoia of everyone. And, in England, in Chelmsford and Colchester, and places near where we live, it was this collective paranoia where, of course, nothing happened, but some people are like, well, maybe it is real. So I feel like if you have that question at the end of, okay, it could be real, we just haven't seen it, but then maybe you wouldn't see it, because maybe that deity is so powerful it wouldn't reveal itself, right?
mm.
Or it isn't real, and it's just this collective paranoia. So that explains the cult. It explains why the guy's going insane a little bit, because he grew up there, he moved away, he's got all these questions around his parents, driving him insane. The female lead, she is, new to the situation. She, her boyfriend's going insane. Her, all these
Mm,
people around
mm.
her, she don't really fit in. She's surrounded in this completely foreign land with these foreign ideas, and again, would kind of drive you insane. So I do like the idea of leaving that open. But like I said, the thing with this film is it really stuck with me. It's definitely one I would be very, very interested in seeing again. I tell you what I really like about this film, though, is genuinely I'm sitting here thinking we've got to move on to the next film, but we could just continue talking about this for ages. And to me, that's the sign of a good film. Is that
I would love to see it again, definitely.
Yeah, I think yeah, we might be able to make that happen. So just keep them eyes peeled. We'll see what we can do. So I'll leave that there for Sacrifice. And moving on to Sacrifice was actually before we move on, so Sacrifice kicked off Thursday. On the Wednesday, I did watch one film called Sinners, which was previously titled The Color Rose, which I think is a better title. Actually, Sacrifice was previously called The Color of Madness, which I think is a way better title than Sacrifice.
Yes.
But,
and do you know what? And again, it ties in quite well to everything we've said. If it had been called The Color of Madness,
yes,
I think I don't know. Frustrating.
But they've got to sell them DVDs, and unfortunately, more people are likely to pick up a film called Sacrifice than they are a film called The Color of Madness, which is very unfortunate because The Color of Madness is a fantastic title. But yeah, going back to the Wednesday before we move on, I did watch a film called Sinners, which was one that you picked out in our preview episode.
Was that the group of teens?
Yes.
In an attic loft in England.
Yeah. So I was up and down on this one. It just didn't fully come together for me. But I still think there's enough there to go in and enjoy it. I think if this is one that pops up on Shudder or somewhere like that in the near future, I would definitely say just watch it. There's some cool ideas. It doesn't, for me anyway, it didn't fully come together. Again, this is all subjective and just personal taste. But yeah, there's still some stuff there that I quite appreciated. And I am going to leave it there because I don't want to spoil anything or, reveal too much, because I think if it does pop up, like I said, on Shudder or somewhere like that, it's definitely worth catching. So moving on to the Thursday, you didn't catch anything else on the Thursday, did you? The next one I caught was The Banishing.
No, I didn't. The next one I got was Blood Harvest.
Right, okay, so very quickly, The Banishing, pretty good, nice haunted house film. Yeah, quite enjoyed it. It's by director called Chris Smith, who is a Frightfest regular. Made some really great films like The Triangle. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. It's a really, really good film. Yeah, I like this. Good English haunted film. So yeah,
sounds like one I would have enjoyed. So kicking myself a bit now.
Yeah, I reckon you would get a little something out of that actually. Yeah, so definitely check that one out. And then on the Friday, I unfortunately was meant to start with a film called Woman of the Photographs, which unfortunately I missed because I didn't get home in time. I heard really good things about it, so it'll definitely be one that I'm going to look out for. I then started my day with The Powder, which I'm not going to say too much about because it is coming out quite soon, so you will have a chance to watch it. So I'd actually be very interested to talk to you about The Powder once you've seen it.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Because I think again, there's a lot of really, really good stuff in The Powder. I really, really like, but it didn't fully work.
Okay.
And again, that's just for me.
Subjective.
I've seen a lot, because I've seen a lot of people that really, really did like it, and then I've seen a lot of people on the flip side that enjoyed it, but felt like it just didn't click in some areas. But overall, definitely want to check out, and I believe that is going on Shudder. So as soon as that does, I highly recommend people just check it out, even if you're just going to watch it once. Then I watched a film called Concrete Plans, which was quite a cool little British film actually, about these contractors that go to an old manor to do some renovations, and they discover that there's a lot of money hidden in the house. So then it's kind of the descent of all these guys kind of fighting over each other and working out what best to do. And there's some real commentary in there about class and some of the, or one of the contractors, I believe, is European. So you've got some commentary in there about the way, yeah, that some British people look at Europeans, unfortunately, because, you know, some people are arseholes. And yeah, I actually pleasantly surprised with that one. I wasn't, it was one that didn't really see a lot of people talking about. You know, it was one that was on the Zavi Discovery screen, which, you know, if you've been to Frightfest, is the, like, they're the smaller screens that, you know, that don't pull in the big audiences, but for me normally deliver the most surprising films at a weekend. So yeah, that weren't too bad. And then last for me on Friday was a film called The Reckoning, which was by Neil Marshall, who done some incredible stuff like The Descent, Game of Thrones. Unfortunately, yeah, this just didn't work for me. This just, yeah, it had a, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I don't like to stick too much on stuff I didn't really like, but yeah, for me, didn't play. That's what I'll say about that one. So moving on to Saturday, and I was out Saturday morning, early Saturday afternoon. So I kicked off my day, same as you did, with Blood Harvest.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so go on, sir. What do you think?
I thought there was a kind of a bit of a poison chalice at the start when it was introduced in comparison to The Witch, which I think's astounding. So straight away I thought, you know, that's setting a very high bar. I like the kind of Irish immigrant community in America, so that a very old-fashioned feel. Similarly to Sacrifice, I couldn't help but feel a little bit disappointed with the end again.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was a case of the film not really knowing fully what it was, um, and what it was trying to say. Now, it could be, of course, completely true that I missed the point of the film. The ending to me just felt like it just jarred, and it might even be a little bit like a reverse the way you felt about Sacrifice. I just felt like there was a lot there that was unnecessary. And I'm going to say again, like the same as I felt with Sacrifice, I did enjoy both of those films, but just the ending just didn't work for me.
I do know what you mean. I quite enjoyed Blood Harvest, and again with Sacrifice out of the weekend. I mean, we're talking about it in a bit. I mean, out of the weekend, out and out for me, Relic was the film of the weekend. But the Sacrifice and Blood Harvest are ones that stuck with me the most in terms of they both left questions for me. They both, you know, I do want to go back and watch them both. There's a
Yes.
lot I really liked in Blood Harvest. I feel like I don't know if this is an issue on the part of the filmmakers or an issue on the part of me. So I'm going to take the fall on this. I'm going to take the fall on this and say that I did not realize that this film is actually set in 1970.
Yes.
So there were things in this film that completely threw me off. And so when you're watching these, you can't rewind, right? You can't go back. So there's
No.
like one scene with a plane,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why the fuck is there a plane? Is this? But they make a point of they notice the plane as well. So I'm like, okay, it isn't a mistake. There isn't just. And then later on, she gets in a truck, and I'm like, did I just fucking see that right? Did she
Or
get in a?
when they say let's take him to the hospital in the city, you're like, what
And
city? What?
I'm like, what? Like this? So I think this is a problem on my part, right? I just completely missed that point of it being in. I don't know. I was. Is it explained at the start of the
It
film?
is, yeah.
It is,
There's a
isn't it? Yeah, I thought
protest,
so
yeah.
because I was, like I said, I had just kind of got in and I threw this on. I was kind of rushing around, so I was kind of just, you know, settling down as the film was starting. I got it on the TV and I was just settling down, and yeah, I was kind of all over the place at that point, you know. So I probably wasn't paying as much attention to that start as I should have been. However, knowing that, and this is what's made me think a lot, I really, really like that idea. It reminds me a lot of, and we're probably going to lose some listeners over this, but it reminds me a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
Yeah.
Same kind of setup, right? Yeah, in terms of the witch angle, what I really liked about it is they committed to it off the bat. There was no, I either think you've got to go, you leave the question open. Is she a witch? Of which then she does nothing that would imply she is until maybe the reveal or like, you know, your big flip. Or you just get it out of the way straight away. So I was saying about the reckoning. And I you know, I don't want to touch on it too much, but that was one of my problems. That also is based around a witch. However, I feel like they were playing like, is she a witch? Isn't she a witch? Is this just paranoia of the witch trials? Or, but then they, you know, but then you would do stuff that would be like, well, no, she's clearly a fucking witch.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't pick where, you know, what you were saying about sacrifice, about, you know, pick your road and travel down that. I really like that with Blood Harvest. I really like that with like, no, she's a witch, and this is a story we're telling, and it's like a full coming of age story of her coming into her powers, and you know, I do really, really like that. And also, on a very selfish point of view, what I really liked about this film was, as you know, I'm working on a witch film on my own at the minute, so I'm always very worried that, you know, you put all this work into creating your own film, and then a film comes out and you're like, oh fuck, they've just done everything I wanted to do. So on a very selfish note, no, what I want to do is quite different to this. So
You know, I think it's quite rare as well in those kind of films to see it from the alleged witch's point of view.
Yes.
Which I thought was very interesting. But going back to the 70s part of it, I do question why that was even a thing, because the things that referenced the 70s were fairly throwaway, not integral to the story at all. So unless you're going to make it a bigger thing at some point in the film, that, don't forget, this is the 1970s and not the 1600s or whatever.
Yeah.
Then why do it? I just thought. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just thought it was a strange choice.
I would agree with that on the basis of, I feel like you could have done more with it. I feel like
Yes,
there could
yeah,
have
I think
been
so.
a lot more, because it wasn't a twist, was it? Right? They
No,
give it,
no,
like you said, I kind of missed it, but they give it up
but
right
they
at the
said
start.
it, and then you forget about it, and then you're reminded a couple of points,
A
but the
couple of
reminder
yeah.
is not by any means important, really
Right,
important to the
exactly,
story.
yeah. Where in something like The Village, that's the complete
That's the
twist.
whole thing, isn't it?
That's the whole thing. It's a complete twist,
There
isn't it?
could have been a middle ground there, that, you know, maybe them shunning the outside world led to their downfall. Like, you know, they haven't got telephones, and they haven't got, you know, they could have made more of that.
Yeah.
And I suppose they
Yeah.
did kind of allude to that with the hospital remark, but it just, yeah, I don't want to be hit over the head with things, but it could have been a bit more to the point, I think.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one I want to go back to. It's definitely one I want to
Yeah.
watch again. There's a lot there I like. There is a hell of a lot there I like, and it has left me with questions. Yeah, it's left me with a lot of questions that I want to go back and watch. Definitely.
I mean, I could see a sequel happening to that, actually. You know, I do. I want to know what happens next. A little bit confused by what went on towards the
Yeah,
end
I
of the
wonder
film.
if that will be cleared up with second viewing or not. That would be interesting. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see. Let's keep an eye on it. See if it comes
Yes.
available, man. We'll watch it again and revisit it, because I think it's definitely one we've got to revisit. Just to round up Saturday, I've been ranting and raving about this on Twitter ever since I watched it, so I'm not going to spend too long on it. But Relic was, so it's a film. It's kind of like a haunted house possession film, but it's all based around the idea of dementia, something that is very, very close to my heart. My nan passed away earlier this year from dementia, and I'd been battling it for 6 years. So the way this film handles it, and what was really nice was seeing the interview with the director afterwards, and she was saying basically same setup I just laid out. Her Nan was suffering with dementia for years, and she got to see it, and that's kind of what created this film in her head. I thought the way she handled it was perfect. It was one of my films of the weekend, one of them, about 10 minutes out from the end. And
Wow.
they go to end the film in a way I think a lot of lesser filmmakers would have ended it. And then this is why this film stood out for me. She doesn't end it there. She brings it back, and she gives you 10 more minutes that are, it's just a level of filmmaking. It's raw, it's rare, it's beautiful, it's haunting, it's heartbreaking, and she just handles it with such care that for me, that the last 10 minutes is what made this the film of the weekend. Like I said, it was one of them. That last 10 minutes, it was like out and out, and not out and out just my film of Frightfest. I have made no secret saying this could be my film of the year. Now, I'll openly admit that is because it works for me on a very, very personal level. But I think even if you don't know anyone that suffered with dementia, but you appreciate the struggles someone with dementia goes through, this I think will hit a lot of people, and I think the ending especially will it'll hit, it hits, man, hits in all the right places. It's a hell of a film.
I've heard nothing but really good things about that from people, and it's probably the one that I regret missing the most, and it's probably my first choice for trying to see it somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. That again, I've just got to come back to that ending. It is a level of genre filmmaking that is very, very rarely seen. It is just directed with such restraint and such beauty. Like I said, it's haunting. Can't say enough about it, honestly. If there's one film I recommend you sort out, and I believe actually it come out today, limited cinema run, might even be. So definitely check it out. It's a absolute masterpiece. So moving on to the final day, the Sunday, you got one film on the Sunday, right?
Caveat.
Okay. I got, which is great because I didn't watch that, but that's definitely one. It just clashed with something else I wanted to see, but it's definitely one I wanted to watch. But before that, just a quick shout out to a film called Slacks, which is the film I brought up in the previous episode about the killer genes. Great. Just absolutely great. Just tonally, it gets it right, man. It just gets it right. There's some great commentary in there about, quick fashion and fast fashion and stuff, but it's outstanding. And it was opened by a short film called Little Willie, which was a commentary on kind of child stars within the horror genre that now do like conventions and stuff. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. I thought it had a lot of good stuff to say. The one thing I will ask, and if the filmmakers of Little Willie end up listening to this at any point in time, how did you get the music clearance for the music you use? I'm watching this, like, I'm thinking, man, like that music clearance is outstanding. But they had like some big tracks in that film. But yeah, copyright wise, they got around it somehow. But outstanding, man. Yeah, so quick shout out to them. So yes, sir, let's move on to your final film of the weekend. Caveat.
Before I do that, just to go back very briefly, it looks like Relic you can rent from Amazon as of now. So I'm gonna be checking that out.
Yes, do it.
So my last film was Caveat. One we spoke about was one of the ones I picked, and I think you picked out as well.
Yes.
All we knew of it was a drifter goes to a house. He's offered a job by his former landlord to look after his niece. But the caveat being he has to wear a harness around the house that keeps him locked into the house. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was incredible, absolutely incredible. This is a tiny cast of three people, where one person carries most of it. The the guy who is the main actor who covers most of it. It's his first feature film he's starred in, and it's also the first feature film of the director as well.
Yeah.
And I really struggle to fault it. I thought it was brilliant, and it's one of those films where you gotta watch it again, and you'll get more from it. You'll see more every time. I think the blurb of it, the synopsis was slightly misleading because it's the guy's got amnesia, and he's not particularly clear on who this person is who's offered him the job.
Oh,
And
okay.
he goes to this place for a fair amount of money. It's set in Ireland, in Cork, I believe, to look after his niece for a week, who's got some severe trauma issues. And then out of the blue, he is told he's going to have to wear this harness, which is this old leather contraption with a chain down into the cellar. And he has certain rooms he can't get into, he can't get out of the house, and the house is on an island. And straight away, the first thing you're thinking is, well, why the bloody hell did he agree to put on this thing? And it's handled really well. I mean, it's believable. You know, it might be a bit of a stretch to believe that he would do that, but it's believable enough.
Yeah.
Everything in it's believable. And it kind of it is and it's a cliche to say this, but it's a cat and mouse game of running around this house that sometimes in the light, sometimes it's in the dark. Are there ghosts? Are there not? Trying to unravel his memory and the mysteries of the house, but it's also you're trying to work out who the bad guy is. Is it the uncle? Is it the drifter? Is it the girl? Is it all of them? And what's brilliant about the film, I think, is by the end of it, it's open to interpretation. And I think it's like your values kind of determine who's the bad guy, who's the
Yeah.
bad guy of the film. And I can't for the life of me think of his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But I actually spoke to the guy who played the main guy in the film, and to congratulate him.
Oh,
I
interesting. Yeah.
said to him, all the money in the world, I wouldn't spend a week with any of the characters in it,
Yeah.
including
Yeah.
yours. It was really great filmmaking, very atmospheric. I mean, to call this house dilapidated, it literally, not only is there wallpaper coming off the wall there, the rooms are crumbling. So
Falling apart.
I would imagine health and safety had a field day,
Yeah.
clearing them to walk around this place. But yeah, it was just brilliant. Highly,
Yeah.
highly recommend.
I heard nothing. I heard nothing but good things about it. And yeah, like I said, every Fright Fest, every festival, you get festivals that run on multiple screens. You are going to get a clash of at least one or two blocks. Where you want to watch both films, and this was the same for me. This clashed with a film called Lucky, which I did watch, and one of the reasons I mainly went with Lucky was I knew you were going to watch Caveat, so I thought it would give a nice dynamic to the podcast. But yeah, man, it's definitely one I've got to check out. It's definitely one I'm gonna be looking out for, without a doubt, man.
So just to name check it, the writer director is Damien McCarthy, and it's Jonathan French. His
Right.
plays Isaac, the main character, and I believe the next place it's playing is Leeds International Film Festival, and I think which is in November. So obviously that's a digital thing. So really recommend
Oh
people
yeah.
catch this
So
one.
yeah, can
It's also
get your
got
digital ticket.
the creepiest fucking rabbit toy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's in a lot of the
That's
images.
in, that's in
Yeah.
the pictures. Isn't it? Oh
Yeah, yeah,
my!
yeah.
Oh,
That is creepy as hell. Creepy as hell. So yeah, rounding out the weekend for me, dude, was a film called Lucky, which really enjoyed. So it starred Brie Grant, who was in another film of the weekend called A Stylist, which I didn't watch during Fright Fest, but I have seen, which is a great independent horror film, first time director. Yeah, definitely check out The Stylist when you get a chance. I believe that's actually playing Leeds as well. So yeah, maybe get a ticket to both of them. But this was from a director who, like I said, made a film called Imitation Girl, which played Fright Fest a good few years back and was kind of a standout film for me. So this film I had to watch. Stars Bree Grant was also, I believe, the screenplay was from Bree Grant as well. And Bree Grant's been absolutely killing it this year. She was in After Midnight, one of my films of the year. Absolutely loved After Midnight. Come out like very, very early. She directed 12-Hour Shift that played the last Frightfest, and yeah, wrote and stars in this. Really interesting take on a home invasion film. You know what, it's hard one to talk about because I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
I don't like, it's one of those where all I knew going in was the very brief synopsis that is on the Frightfest website or that you can find anywhere. That's all I knew. And that's the way you go in to watch this. Like don't even read that. Just know it's like a completely reimagining of the home invasion film. And there's some really, really great ideas in there. And it's a very feminist film. It's got a lot of ideas based around feminism. And yeah, again, that's kind of all I want to say because I'm kind of trying to catch myself here because I feel like anything else I say is gonna ruin it a little bit. It's a really, really unique, really outstanding film. And again, I feel like if you're looking for like voices in the industry that are coming up with just different ideas, yeah, look no further than everyone behind this film, really. You know, everyone.
I think it
They're
was
all doing
another one that had
amazing
a bit
stuff.
of buzz around it, didn't it?
Yes.
As one to watch.
Yes, definitely. So it's definitely one I'm gonna, and I know it's a bit of a cop out because I am kind of not saying too much about it, but I honestly feel like that's the way you have to go into this. So yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. Lucky, Brie Grant is absolutely amazing in it, and yeah, you just have to watch it. And I have no doubt it's going to be popping up all over the place. But yeah, that's
Cool.
I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. So yeah, sir, that kind of rounds up Fright Fest. Once again, hats off to everyone involved with Fright Fest. I think they have outdone themselves this year. I really do.
Yeah.
Especially with this event because this event was meant to be live and it was booked live and they were holding it and then all the new restrictions come in. They had to pivot very, very quickly. And I know that because they moved it online, they lost a couple of films. They honestly, top to bottom, I think they just done an outstanding job. And yeah,
I'm quite pleased because I know I didn't see the volume of films that you did between the two festivals, but I can honestly say that every single film I watched, I'm really glad I watched it. So I feel like
yeah,
a real winner with, with the films that
yeah. Do you
I
know
did
what
manage to watch.
I honestly feel that even if I don't come out in love with something or I don't come out, really liking something, I always feel there is something I get out of it. It's very, very rare. Over the years, there are a handful of films I have walked out of at Fright Fest going, I'd never watch that ever again. It's
Yeah.
very rare. I even, not everything that screens is great, but yeah, overall, it's always a good experience. I always think you get something out of it. And I think that the collection of films on display really, really works. Really does.
Yeah, I think that's a real film fan's perspective as well. Though, there's of any genre, there's very, very few films that I've ever not finished.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
do exist. There's a few films that I've just no, and I've just given up on. But I think as a real film fan, then you do find things that you can take away from, even ones
Of
that
course. Yeah.
can be a bit of a dud.
Well, I just like hearing, especially when you can see the director's voice in something.
Mm, mm,
When you know that, okay, that director's got a take. They've like maybe I've seen this a million times. Like in terms of like originality, especially in genre films, most of them are not the most original, right? But that's fine because what you're looking for is the director's take on that story you've probably seen a million times. And I feel like, yeah, with festivals, especially somewhere like Fright Fest, you really get that. You really get a lot of different takes on a story you've seen a lot, and they might not all land for you, but hey, they don't need to. They don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, sir. So moving on to a teaser trailer that dropped yesterday,
It
I
was
believe.
yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. So Halloween Kills.
I saw it
Now,
on Instagram. It was John Carpenter
oh,
posted
was it
it saying that
really?
he said it was something like he said, "I've got a treat for you for your patience,"
Oh,
or
wow, that's
something
pretty
like
cool.
that. Yeah, it was really cool.
So talking of that patience, the film has obviously been pushed till next year now. It was meant to be out now, I believe. And yeah, like everything, it's all been pushed to 2021. But we have got this teaser trailer, and it is a teaser trailer. There is hardly anything in it. I mean, what did you think?
So the first thing that when it got pushed back, you're thinking it's being pushed back by a whole year, and your immediate knee jerk reaction is, why that far? But you can't, of course, you can't have a Halloween film not coming out in October. It
Exactly.
has to be. There's no
Has to
point
be
putting it
Halloween.
out in March. So, and I quite liked that. I did notice that there's a bit of dialogue from Laurie in it, where it almost justifies the putback because she's talking about how when someone's alone in a year's time on Halloween,
Yeah.
Michael will come for them again. And I
Yeah,
just
that
thought,
really worked for me.
and I don't know if that they've added that in just for the trailer or whether that was always, or maybe they added it in as a bit of extra filming. But I just thought that was really smart.
It works,
That's the
don't it?
way they've
Yeah.
done that. Yeah,
Yeah. Does work. What did you think of? So going back to the first one,
the
the
first,
yeah,
the
the kind
first
of
new one.
reboot trilogy of films, as it will
Yep.
be. We've spoke about it before. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It's a good film. I liked it, but I don't know. It just didn't do anything vastly new for me. It didn't feel any different really to any of the other Halloween
Oh yeah, yeah,
films. So I was just kind of tapped out at that point. I've got to be brutally honest. I kind of feel the same about this trailer. There
yep.
was that good line. I like that line. I like the way it opens up on the pumpkins and stuff. I like the way it looks. But I got to admit, teaser ended, and I was kind of like, okay,
And
just yeah, okay. That's just what I like. I didn't.
yeah,
There is not. This teaser showed me nothing that I wasn't already expecting to be there.
yeah,
Like, there was nothing that went to me. I really need to watch this film. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna watch this film, but yeah, there's nothing there that I thought, okay, this is a must watch, like the Candyman, for example.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
think
about you? Because you were obviously a lot higher on the reboot.
yeah. I mean, I think I am fairly biased in that. I mean, I know you love Halloween, the original,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, I completely agree. There's nothing new at all, really, in terms of storytelling or anything like that. What I liked about the first new one was how they tied it back to the original. I like this idea that this guy is now 60 years old. Um, he spent 40 years not saying anything. I like that, and I like the way we got to see more of that and hear more about the fact that he's done nothing but stand there for 40 years. And I thought that was very clever, and I liked the effect it had on Laurie, and it ruined her life even though she got away with it. I liked all that. Um, in terms of this trailer, I mean, yeah, there's nothing revolutionary in there. I'm just such a fan of the film franchise. I
Yeah, there.
can't wait.
Yeah, there for it. Yeah.
Absolutely can't wait.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
it's
I
not.
mean, like I said,
It's.
man, I'm not
I
completely
don't want
against
to.
it, but
I don't want to see it more than Candyman. Um,
no, I'd be a little bit worried if you were,
but
to be
it's up
honest.
there. It's up there. I think even the shit Halloween films, I still I still like
No, mate,
watching them.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I am. Like, even the crap ones, I'm fucking there for.
What's the
I
one
just
where
like a
he's?
little something different.
What's the one where it's a reality TV house and Michael Myers
Oh, isn't
just
that
turns up?
is that
Oh,
Resurrection with Buster Rhymes, or is that H2O? I can't remember.
H2O is
Is it H2?
Resurrection, I think.
It's one of them
It's
where
one of
Buster
them.
Rhymes
Yeah.
is like he's the only. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure within the entire Halloween franchise, the
I know what you're going
only
to say
person
already.
that properly lands a hand on Michael Myers is Busta Rhymes in full kung fu mode.
Yeah, that and a massive roundhouse kick as well.
Just ridiculous. So fucking ridiculous. Such a like sign of the times, isn't it? When like kung fu films were making their like comeback, and for some reason it infiltrated rap music, and yeah.
Do you know what I'd like to see more than another Michael Myers film? I'd be interested in a remake of Halloween 3.
I would love to see that. I'd love to see a continuation of that. Yeah,
because I
I
think
really, really would.
with the technology we've got now as well, and the advances in filmmaking, I think they could do. I mean, the story was great, but I just think some of the effects let it down a bit. I just think they could do a lot more now, exploring those masks and what they actually
Be a
did to
cool
the
idea.
kids. That
Be a
kind of
really,
thing.
really cool idea. I'm really sad we never got, because that Halloween. I don't know if we spoke about it recently, but I think we did. We said about like Halloween being completely different, and we didn't really know why it was different. So afterwards, I actually like done a real deep dive trying to find out why, and I found out. So basically, what it was after Halloween 2, John Carpenter had a completely different idea about what the Halloween franchise was going to be. So after Halloween 2, he decided that Halloween franchise was going to be an anthology franchise where every year you tell a different story on Halloween. Problem was, it was the third film, and they had already made 2 films about the same guy.
Yeah.
So by the time you get to the third, that's just what people expect. So yeah, did I see an interview with someone, or like I read somewhere where they believe that if he had actually come up with the idea, or they had produced the idea for Halloween 2, that's what we would have.
Could be a very different.
We never would have got all these
it?
Michael Myers films. The Michael Myers story would have been the first one. Season of the Witch could have been number 2, and then every year after we would have had a different Halloween film, but it would all be an anthology. It would be a completely different story every year. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been so cool.
I think arguably Season of the Witch is the best one after Halloween 1.
Oh, agreed. Completely agree. Season of the Witch is
possibly Halloween 2,
I do
because I
like
did
Halloween.
enjoy that.
Yeah, I do like it as a nice
I kind
continuation.
of exactly. It's in the same night, is it? It's kind of like rather than 2. It's almost like part 2, isn't it?
It's part 2. Yeah, it's like it literally picks up straight after, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Literally picks up with him like
Halloween
falling
3
out.
is such a great, unusual idea as well.
It is. It really is. It's very unique. It's a very unique story. Yeah, I really like it. I think the cast is great. The direction is great. The design of the masks, like you said, just the idea of the masks, fantastic. Yeah, I would really, really like to see that. Bringing it back around to Halloween Kills. Yeah, I'm not overly excited, if I'm honest, but am I going to watch it? Of course I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to watch it. So in a year's time, that will be we will be reviewing that on the podcast. But yeah, bloody hell. All right, sir. So that brings us round to the creepy link of the week. You have done something very different this week.
Yes.
I was in love with this. As soon as I saw what this was titled, I was in love with it. I had never seen it before.
Good.
And yeah, this was great, man. I'm so glad we're doing something a little bit different for it. This is like our Halloween episode. So I think now on ahead,
originally, man. I found it because I wanted to. It came up in my. I'd never seen it before today, so I thought, right, I'm going to try and find something. I start racking my brains, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if I can find something to do with Halloween, and I did, and I found this channel has made all sorts of these.
Yeah, I noticed.
You call them horror shorts, I suppose.
Horror shorts, yeah,
but to say, straight off, it's a 360 immersive experience, and they've done it for Halloween, and I watched it, and it just wasn't as good as this one. I watched a few of them, and they were fine, but this is the one that I actually thought, yeah, I'm really getting into this.
Yeah, this is good, man.
So it's to introduce it. It's basically scenes from It, the rebooted one, and it's 360 immersive, so you could look round. What did you think?
I loved it, dude. I thought it looked really, really good. I mean, it's obviously computer generated, but
Yeah.
the character in it, like Pennywise, looks photoreal. It does come up with Warner Bros. At the start, so I take it
Yes.
this has been produced with Warner Bros. Consent.
Yes.
And yeah, it looks like they've actually done some really nice motion capture with the actors. But yeah, it's outstanding. I think this 360 idea is really, really great in principle for a lot of stories. However, it never really comes off. Like the whole VR thing
Yeah.
is a little bit, because the problem is it kind of goes against film in a way, right? Like
Yeah.
film is like you're
Yeah. Yeah.
telling a story and you are telling people exactly where to look. You are telling people what character they should be concentrating on. You literally come up with a camera move to say, this is what you need to focus on. So
Yes.
the whole idea of VR goes against that, because the whole idea of VR is look where you want.
Yeah.
So how do you do that with scares, and how do you do that with a horror film, especially,
Mm.
where the scares and the creepy. I think this does it very well because the sound design. I think the
Yeah.
sound is so much more important than visuals. There is, you said to me, watch this, lights off, curtains drawn, and headphones on.
Headphones. Yeah.
Now that is the key to this. Now I watched it on my PC, and you can move the screen about with the mouse. I
Yep.
believe if you watched it on a phone, you could just move your phone about and it would do it.
That's right.
The sound design, and this is what they get right with this. The sound design tells you where you need to be looking. So wherever you're focusing the camera doesn't really matter, because you hear Pennywise voice from a certain angle, and you're like, okay, I need to look that way.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
works really well. It works very, very well when you get down to the tunnels
Yeah.
and you are looking forward, and then you hear his voice from behind you
Yeah.
and you have to turn around. That's great.
It was great, wasn't it?
That is really, really good. And yeah, I would be very, very interested to watch this with a proper headset,
Yes,
like
exactly.
a
Yeah.
fully immersive
It's
experience.
not something I've ever really been interested in,
No,
to tell you
same.
the truth.
No, not really.
It's a bit like 3D TV. I mean, our TV's capable of it,
Yeah,
and we've got the glasses, but I've
same.
never used it. I'm just not interested. But when I saw this, what I thought was great was, I don't know if you had the same thing as me, but when it's going down the main street in Derry, and you see the boat disappear down the drain, just the thrill of being able to look down the drain.
Look down the drain.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I bet no one who knows the story has ever watched that and not looked down at the drain,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because it was so exciting to look down there and think,
yeah.
where is he? Where is he? Where is he? There he is. Um, and I
Yeah, I
just I
agree
just
with you.
thought it was great, and a couple of times it did make me jump as well, which I thought was quite nice. It's quite creepy as well, being
Yeah,
in
it
that
is. It's
environment.
very creepy. I feel like that's what they do right. Like it shouldn't be. You sound about 3D. I actually really like 3D. I get what you mean, that it's very hard to get invested in it, because I don't think a lot of people do it right, because it's used as a gimmick. It
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be used as a gimmick. It should be used as a tool to tell your story, right? As in, when color film first come about, they believed it was gimmick. There was a few films that kind of turned it around, but the one film that really, really turned color film around was The Wizard of Oz. And
Mm.
it's because it wasn't just a gimmick in The Wizard of Oz, it was a tool to tell the story. It starts in black and white. She opens door to Oz. It's all in color. It's a tool to tell that story, and that's why you get so invested in it. And you're in that world, right? This does the same. I feel like it plays with the VR. It plays with a 360 element. It knows what it has and it uses it as a tool. It's not a gimmick. It's a real tool to tell the story. And yeah, man, I thought it was great. I thought this was a really, really great choice from you. And I would actually be very interested to review other VR experiences for the podcast. I think that would be something really, really
Cool.
interesting. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
mean,
something
I
to get
do.
into.
I'm totally, this is all new to me. So if anyone listening knows of any YouTube channels who produce this kind of stuff, for horror, then please do let us know.
Let us know.
I mean,
Definitely.
it's worth going through and seeing more of what these guys do. As I say, this was the best of what I watched, but I only watched a couple. I think I
Yeah.
watched about three. So I watched this, and I knew this was the one that I wanted to do, so I didn't bother going much further.
Yeah. Definitely, man. I think let's definitely check some more out. And yeah, if people like this one, we're doing another one down the line. Without a doubt,
Great,
man. All right, buddy. That wraps it up for this week. I hope you and your family and everyone out there listening has an amazing Halloween. Me and my girlfriend are off to a pumpkin patch tomorrow, so
lovely.
that should be a bunch of fun. And
How
then,
many? How
yeah,
many? How many are you gonna get?
I don't know. We've already got like a pumpkin patch in our living room, but it's all like none of them are real, right? They're all fake pumpkins. So we're gonna get some real pumpkins, and yeah, I don't know. We'll probably come home with a million of them. I saw that photo you posted of your
I know.
wheelbarrow full
I
of
was
pumpkins.
adamant we were getting one each.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and then
adamant.
you've come away
Yeah.
with about 10
I
each.
just got caught up in it. Who was I kidding?
Exactly. That's gonna happen tomorrow, man. It's gonna happen tomorrow. And yeah, a big happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I
Which
will
is
be
quite cool because
turning.
it's my birthday next Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, they're
Is
like
it?
right around the corner from each other. That's
And
funny. Yeah,
I
November
think
4th. It's
I'll
next week.
be
So
22. You'll be 21. I
that's
think.
it. It's about
Yeah.
that. It's about
Excellent.
that,
Yeah.
Chris. Yeah. We fucking wish.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, dude. Have a amazing Halloween. Have an amazing birthday. Everyone out there, have a great Halloween. We will see you next week. And until then, stay safe, Horror Hounds.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.